Katie Hunter from UK. I'm here with Cynthia Calvillo. Cynthia, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, no, of course. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
And right between practices as well.
Yep. That's a fight life. I mean, when you're in fight camp, it's just 24/7. So, you have a morning practice, a midday practice sometimes, and then an evening practice. So it's nonstop.
So you're grabbing food, and then where are you off to next?
So this morning, I did a little bit of MMA technique drilling, and then grappled. Did a couple live rounds, and then right now I'm just taking a break, getting some lunch, and relaxing a little bit, and then I'm gonna go hit some mitts later, and just a little few technical things, and yeah.
So I didn't know that you were training at AKA. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm actually originally from San Jose. This area here is my original hometown. My family's here. So it actually kind of just worked out because my parents aren't getting any younger. So I was just and I'm able to actually spend time with them a lot more. I've been doing this for about 8-9 years, and the first 3 years were here in San Jose, but then I've been just gone since then, and I'm always training and fight camp, and so never really got to spend too much time with them these last couple of years. So now I have the opportunity to do so. So I'm really happy about that. I'll just kind of worked itself out that I do my fight camp here and that I get to spend time with my family.
Yeah, because you spent a lot of your last fight camp out in Thailand, didn't you?
Yes. I was out there for about 9 weeks, not 9 months. It felt like maybe 9 months.
9 weeks is still a long time though.
Yeah, it was like pretty much, 2 months. It also, during that time though, I was like traveling. I think I went out there. I went to Bangkok for about a week. Not Bangkok, to Singapore. I went to Singapore. I did go to Bangkok a couple times, but I went to Singapore. And so there was a lot of traveling and stuff. It was an interesting fight camp for sure, for my first overseas fight camp.
And it was a great fight as well. It obviously ended in a majority draw, which is quite unusual. How did you score the fight? You must have watched it back since then.
Yeah, I watched it a lot of times. Yeah, I honestly, I'm not going to be disappointed with the draw, to tell you the truth. I feel like there is a lot of things in that fight where a lot of mistakes. I think she capitalized a lot. I can see how it's a draw, depending on how you see it. So it was a great fight. I feel like I was able to learn a lot and to show that it's not over. In the third round, there's always an opportunity to come back and fight back, and I think that's a big part of thing that really pulls in, it really determines how big of a heart you have as a fighter. You can just try to drag on and survive the third round when you're kind of getting beat up and not finding your place, or you can suck it up and then try to finish the fight. And so I really try to do that. She did hurt me in the second round with body shots, so I tried to survive the second round, and I said, okay, I gotta come and do something with it. So it was a great fight. It's one of those fights I would love to run back, but it would have to be at strawweight, for Marina, because I think she wants to obviously just stay there to fight at straw. I think personally she's a pretty big strawweight, but even though I'm the one that missed weight, I still felt like she was still kind of big, Yeah, so I would want to definitely run that back, but we'll see. Maybe a super fight later, but right now, because I'm moving up to 125s.
So that definitely thought was a 10-8, and obviously two of the judges scored it that way. Were you surprised you didn't finish her? Because you hit her with so many shots.
Man, she is so tough, and I did. I think a lot of it was there were some mental things going into that fight for me. I feel like I didn't pull the trigger when I should have. There's something about me that when I kind of held back, there's a little bit of a, I think this was like my first time going into a fight where I wasn't as confident as I was in my other fights
Really?
going in. Yeah, it was because it was a very difficult fight camp for me. It was a very, very hard fight camp. There was a lot of things that were like going on, and so I really just tried my best to go out there and give it what I have. No matter what happened, it's a part of it. You're never gonna have a good fight camp. This is
Yeah.
probably one of my least favorite fight camps that I've had, and so for me to be able to like pull off what I did, to be able to still try to dig deep inside and come out and finish in that third round. I mean, try to finish in the third round. There's a moment, a part of me where I felt like, man, if I would have just pulled this little extra inside of me, I could
Yeah.
have finished her. I could have finished. I was this close. The
You
ref was like,
really
no, no, no,
were.
it was this close, but yeah.
And you mentioned the weight miss there. I'm sure you get asked about it a lot. Was there anything in particular that went wrong?
There was a lot of things that were going on. Like I said, that the whole fight camp. So when I was out there, I ended up getting a pink eye, which is conjunctivitis, which is almost kind of like a form of staph. I was very, very contagious, and it was very severe. Um, I didn't know how severe it was at a point. I didn't want to like show that on social media. So of course, anytime when you go, every I don't think there's no fighter that has a perfect fight camp, and if they do, then there's something wrong. You should always have a fight a tough fight camp. But this one was particularly like extra hard because I ended up getting a infection in my eye, and it was like going into my other eye. I couldn't train. I couldn't do any contact training with any of my training partners. So a lot of the stuff was like kind of non-contact. I couldn't really train with my head coach that I was working with over there at the head time because we couldn't you know we couldn't like give them a chance to like pass it on to somebody else or have
Yeah.
somebody else had contracted. So, and then he also had a baby at home, and so it was really difficult. I had to do a lot of self just training on my own, and how to be really
How
clean,
long
how to
did
drive.
that last?
Sorry.
How long did it last for?
It's about 4 weeks, about 4 or 5 weeks while I was out there. And I was
Wow.
not allowed to fly. It wasn't one of those things where like if you get a staph infection, you can kind of almost hide it and like leave the country. I couldn't fly. It was like there. It was like it was my eye. You can see it. So I was not allowed to fly, and I was like going driving myself to the hospital every week. And it's in a foreign country. I don't understand the language. I couldn't. I didn't. It was my first time there in Thailand. So it
Yeah.
wasn't one of the best ones. I was on antibiotics. My tummy was kind of pretty upset throughout a lot of the whole entire trip. Spent a lot of the time. I think they ended up switching up my opponent midway. I think we still had 6 weeks out, but I was in Singapore, and at that time I was already set to like kind of travel out, and I was barely even gonna start doing contact training because I was just getting over my eye infection.
Yeah.
And then I spent 2 weeks over there, and then I had to fly back over here because I wanted to come back as soon as I could. It was just I felt like I was stranded over there, and there was nothing I can do because I wasn't allowed to fly. And so then I uh, I came back home, and then I had 2 weeks to get adjusted. And then there was fight week. Then fight week came. When then fight week came, then I ended up getting staph. Started coming back out from what I contracted in Thailand and other parts of my arm and my shin. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I was battling a lot of things, and of course, I'm not the first fighter that's gonna deal with that kind of stuff. It was just had some, just it was just very unfortunate, especially considering I had already previously missed weight before, and by any means, even beforehand, not making excuses, but these 115 will always be a tough weight cut for me. It's something I can definitely do, but
Yeah.
something that can't happen with mistakes or things that are out of my control. Then I'm just like, so here I look like the bad guy. I look like I'm very unprofessional and that I was undisciplined during fight camp and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
you have to keep all that stuff under wraps, and because I also didn't even know how long I was gonna be contagious. Didn't tell me, oh, you're gonna be like this for 4 weeks. I just have kept having to go to the doctor every week and to follow up until
Yeah.
he
Were
said it was
you
okay.
were you nervous at all about taking drugs that were in Thailand? Like you said, like the language barrier, and how do you just tell USADA what you're taking before you start taking it and they approve it?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there had been some exceptions, obviously, as I'd let the UFC know right away. And USADA did go over there while they were in Thailand and tested me. And um, man, I just had a bag. Like I had literally had my backpack and it was full of all kind of like antibiotics, eye drops, just like different stuff. And I was like, here you go. And I laid it out. I had to take a picture of everything, send it to my manager, and just like, and just make sure I did everything right. I didn't know, it could have been something that started like, because other people were kind of getting pink eye and stuff like that. was like going around, but nobody got it as bad as I did. So it was just one of those things where I just kind of had to sit around. I wasn't in the position where I was going to be like, I'm going to pull out of this fight. I'm going to pull out of this fight. No, because it was
Yeah,
something that some people either had dealt with for a week or 2 weeks, but I had to deal with it for 4 or 5 weeks. So it was a
yeah,
tough one. But I was like, I'm a fighter. And so I was like, all right, I'm like, we're gonna go out there, and train. And I gave it what I had, and
yes,
so
you
I'm
did.
yeah. So it was a tough like a tough. That's why I had a lot. It's a number of different things, but I'm hoping that I can just get back from everything. I don't want to hold on to all this negativity. I
Yeah.
understand that it happens to the best of us, man, in different ways. So I'm just happy I have my eye. I made it through the fight. I'm still here. I'm completely healthy and I'm still able to pursue my dreams. God is good. So I'm good.
So did the move up to flyweight come from the UFC asking you to, or did you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Well, they absolutely advised it, of course, and me having a struggle and then see what happened during the both fight weeks that I had there, and they were able to kind of monitor. I was getting a lot of help from the UFCPI throughout fight week to make sure and ensure that they were providing the meals for me. They were making sure that they did the best thing that they could do to help me get this weight done. But after doing some testing, I went to the Vegas right after my fight, and I went to the UFCPI and we did some retesting, and I've regained like some more muscle mass. And so I'm probably one of the, in as far as like the women in the strawweight division, I'm probably like up here as far as like who cuts a
Right.
lot of weight. So I'm 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 happy with that. I'm okay with that. I used to compete at 125s a lot.
Yeah.
At the time, the reason why I've got into the UFC at 115 is because there was no 125s. So I know I'm always gonna make 125s. I'm happy there. I don't walk around at 125, so it's I walk around about 130, 135. Right now, since I'm actually gonna just make sure do a little bit more strength on this one. So I'm excited. I'm excited to just eat good, like, and just train hard. Sometimes when that 115, when I start phasing out on those last 3 weeks and really dialing down on that diet, I feel a little bit weaker. I smaller. My
Yeah.
same training partners are kind of tossing me around. Starts messing with my mental part, because my confidence. I'm like, man, why are these? They're just throwing me around, and so now I'm not gonna have to deal with that. Now I can be 100% me, and I think it's gonna be great for all the fans and for
Yeah.
my coaches. And I think the UFC will start being happy with me again, because like I feel like these last 2 years I've kind of, I don't know, I feel like I've looked like I've been a bad kid. So I'm ready to just do things right, make the weight, win these fights, and yeah, just I'm excited to be at 125s now.
So let's talk about the fight, because you're fighting Antonina Shevchenko. Like, awesome, big name for you. You must be super excited to get back in there against the top opponent.
I am excited. They had given me like two different options as far as like who I wanted to go up against at 125s, and I liked that fight. I think they offered me someone who was actually higher ranked than her. Um,
Okay.
but I feel like me going into my new division, also having the changes in my fight camp, I think the best thing for me to do going into the division is to start, at someone ranked at her, she's number 11, I believe, and I'm number 10
Yeah.
as a strawweight. So it's not much of a difference. So I'm happy transitioning over that way, with her. But on top of that, she is a very tough opponent. She is the champ sister, I understand, you know, I'm not taking her lightly at all. They understand what it takes to make a champion. She is the champion's main training partner.
Yeah,
Um, so I am extremely motivated. I'm excited for this fight. I think it gives me time that way I can just get in there and make a statement. You know, I think she's a big name in the division by being the champ sister, and you know she's got a great record. I mean, the only one loss she has is a split decision to Roxanne, who we know
yeah,
we've seen as a lately. She's been looking amazing. So, uh, you know, you know, she's definitely gonna be a taller opponent. I mean, and also considering the type of fight that I had in my last fight, that you know, I had a strong Muay Thai fighter who also, you know, and she was very dominant against me in her Thai clinch, and so we're gonna have a bigger fighter who has a
yeah.
similar style. So it's a huge test. You know, I'm going in there again to really retest myself, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going on. You know, also considering too as well because we have Joanne Calderwood who's fighting for the title next at the flyweight division, and I beat Joanne Calderwood. You
You're
know,
doing my
as a flyweight.
questions for me. This is brilliant.
So it's, you know, it's pretty cool, and there's a lot of women also that already that are a lot of the women that actually beat already are now flyweights as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I feel like you match up really well against Antonina. I think your ground game and the way he was able to beat her on the ground, you know, I feel like this could be a really good fight for you stylistically.
absolutely, I think this time we're gonna go back to what you know, what my strengths are. You know, I think before a little bit, people were just like, oh, you know, she's just kind of jujitsu, and I'm a very competitive person. I was like, no, I mean, you know, I'm a well-rounded person. I want to show the world that I have MMA. I'm MMA style. You know, I'm well-rounded. You know, might not be traditional where I'm like standing there Muay Thai, but I feel like, you know, I had worked on it a lot. So I feel like there's certain fighters that I spent too much time standing when I should just take it up. You know, I feel like there's no it's not much competition when it gets down to the ground game. I haven't really met somebody that I fought that has matched my ground game, you know, too much. You know, I usually end up having the better part of it. So, you know, it's no secret she's great at standing, and we did, you know, for people who did watch the fight against Roxanne Modafferi, they would see that, you know, she does have holes. Her weaknesses is the ground. And so now I'm at AKA. I'm training alongside Khabib. You know, he's doing his fight camp there. The energy in there right now is insane, and I love training alongside him. I feel like it's gonna rub off a lot of their styles and the thing that they're training on there. So that's my mentality. I'm gonna go on there. It's not gonna be a secret. I'm sure she understands that. I'm sure her team understands that. Is, you know, there's no secret. I'm gonna try to grind it out, and I'm gonna take her down to the ground and take her to my world, and you know, hopefully, you know, win this time, get the job done with ground and pound, or look for that submission.
Yeah. And you mentioned that Joanne Calderwood, and she's got the next title shot against Valentina. This puts you in a really good position, doesn't it? If you've already beaten the number one contender, you know, you could really make an impact on this division quite quickly, couldn't you?
Yes. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that way. I feel like um it's like almost like it's a new chapter in my career. I feel like I'm in a great position, and I'm completely very thankful to that I'm still, you know, in the UFC, and that, you know, I just renegotiated my contract, and that I'm able to move up, and you know that they're still very happy with me to be able to put me on the main card, and you know, really put me in good positions, and I really appreciate that. I feel like I had a very successful UFC debut, my first run in the strawweight division. I mean, it's probably one of the best that I've ever heard of. I mean, considering that I was like, I think I was a professional for 9 months, and I was already ranked number 6 in the
It's
world.
mad how quickly you got put into the UFC. You were 3-1, right?
Yeah, I was 3-0, 3-0 actually. I was 3-0.
3-0, sorry.
3-0, and I took off, and I ranked up to number 6, and then I fought Carla, and then I lost that close
Yeah.
decision. So, um, and then just kind of kept stumbling after that. But
Well, you've
no,
had
but I
you've had a super interesting career the whole
yeah,
way.
yeah,
I
no,
first
it's
saw you fight live against Pearl Gonzalez, and that fight was almost called off, because of the commission not wanting her to fight because she'd had a boob job, right?
Yeah, I
Wasn't
mean,
that the story of Fight Week?
I don't know what it is about me, but there's always a little bit of controversy on all of my fights. There's probably a story that I can tell you about something happening on somehow the eyes got the eyes are attention on my fight, either because it was because of my opponent or because something else happened or because of me missing weight. So then people are like, oh, here you go. Here goes the attention. But they say,
Yeah.
all attention is good attention, whether it's good or bad, right? But like even my first one, it's like when I first took that fight on 2 weeks' notice for my UFC debut, I was supposed to be the first fight on the prelims, Fight Pass prelims. And we all know that Dana White doesn't go to the early Fight Pass prelims. He usually shows up for like the main card and he's down there in the ring, and that's when everybody, the arena's full. Well, that fight card in particular, it was Khabib versus Ferguson when they were originally supposed to fight back in UFC 209. Well, on weigh-in day, Khabib ended up getting sick, so the fight was scratched. So they were like, "We got to pull a fight into the main card." They picked our fight and they put it smack middle in the main card. I was like, I was like, "Holy crap!" You're like, you'll see to me 2 weeks notice. I'm on the main card. The bosses watched me. I finished the fight in the first round. I was like, oh my God, dude. And then after that, then it was Pearl. Then we like to call that, my coaches, I think, before that, there's like the titty gate. There was always some controversy, and then I went to fight Joanne Calderwood. I was co-main event, Glasgow, her backyard. She ended up missing weight to herself, fought her. I beat her, and then it just kept going, just different stuff.
Tell me about the USADA sanction for cannabis, because it's one that, like, a lot of people don't agree that this should even be on the banned substance list. What happened? Like, is it because it was in competition?
Yeah, so this is the rules are that you're just not allowed to use cannabis in competition, meaning would be at that time it was 8 hours prior, 8 hours after. You may taste positive for it, but you just can have certain levels. And I guess the certain levels that they had raised it to was almost to the point where it's like the only way you could test positive that way is if you were like actively high, like super
Right.
high. Um, I definitely did not get high or use cannabis the day of my fight. I do use it. I've been open about it. I know there's a lot of athletes that use it, and I am completely for it. I think it's a great thing for athletes, and a lot of athletes should be using it. I don't think that is something good to use while you are competing. It's not going to help you in that way, in my personal opinion. Like, you know, um, so what had happened is just I don't know what it was with my rehydration process,
Right.
um, you know, and just maybe not being super knowledgeable as far as like the usage, and just like women have more fat in their bodies, and that's where the cannabinoids like hold on to, and they also may expand when you're dehydrated, and so there's just a lot of things that were just not even also the proper way of testing. A urine test analysis doesn't show whether you're actively high; it only shows how much is in your system.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the only way to do that is blood work, but you're not going to do that to a fighter beforehand.
Yeah.
I understand it. I understand why, but I think they are working to take it off. I mean, and I think it's something that they should. I personally think that they should actually have it available for athletes as soon as they're done competing. As
Yeah.
soon
I
as they're
agree.
done competing, it is something they should be, not ibuprofen, not something that's gonna be bad for the liver. A lot of fighters also end up doing they start drinking alcohol. This is the worst thing you can do, is drink alcohol right after you've been getting your head bashed in, and your
Yeah.
brain's probably gonna become inflamed. Please give them edibles. I don't know, give them, even if it's like CBD, or which obviously you're allowed to CBD at all times, but even
Yeah.
THC, I think I man, if hopefully it gets taken off, but I think
Yeah.
it's gonna something that's gonna help athletes immensely, is actually have that available for them as soon as they're done fighting. I mean, that's the best recovery for them. I
How,
use it for recovery. Um,
yeah.
Not competition though. Do not get high
Yeah,
and
well,
don't mind.
but say you did use it in competition, you're not gonna. It's not performance enhancing, so
No.
like, there's no benefit to you doing that. And for me, it makes me cross that I think USADA gave you a 6 month sanction, but Nevada increased, or their one was 9 months for you. For me, it makes me so angry that like you who smoked weed or took an edible or whatever would get 9 months when somebody like TJ Dillashaw who injected EPO would only get 2 years. I don't understand how that's
Well,
terrible.
on top of that too, I'm not sure what it was, or I don't know. I was completely caught off guard when that happened. When I had first talked to everybody in the UFC and USADA, and we were just like, as far as previous situations that had happened, we were thinking. I mean, we knew Nevada like sometimes could be tough, a little bit harsh on that, but I didn't think anything. I thought times had changed. I mean, considering a lot of the commission actually makes a ton of money. Uh, the Nevada State Commission, the head of the commission, makes a ton of money off of the cannabis industry. Um, and it's legal there and recreational, for one of the first states to have it recreational. um, they gave, I believe, Canelo for his second offense 6 months for
Wow.
computer. They gave me 9 months for my first offense. 9 months. I also learned that after me, the Nevada State Commission gave other fighters that fought for the contender, that tested positive, 6 months with the also eligibility to do it for 3 months. I am not sure what it was uh, about me that they wanted to give me 9 months, and so they pretty much kind of, yeah, kind of like I kind of it was a very depressing time. I couldn't compete for about 11 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you also had time out a little while later with your broken foot. You must have felt like you were cursed.
it was a tough one, and so that's why I feel like sometimes the UFC can also be unforgiving in certain situations like that. Like, say, if you pull out of a fight because, say things just happen. I already missed weight twice. I had a suspension. Then I have an injury. And it's like problematic in comparison of where me, I was just at the beginning of the fight. I was down to fight. I mean, which I'm very thankful that I had that very successful year because they also know what I'm about too.
Yeah.
But because if I hadn't and say I got into the UFC and all those other issues would happen, I feel like I would have been cut already.
I
You
agree.
know, and so I'm very, very thankful that they, they still see something in me that I'm still, they still want me around. And so I am very ready to like give this as a new, almost like as if like this is my UFC debut, but this is my UFC debut at flyweight, but I'm looking at it that way. and
Yeah.
and I'm healthy. I'm training hard. I'm at the right weight class now, and I'm making sure I'm taking all the precautionary steps so that that doesn't happen with it. I'm like making sure I cut my use of cannabis beforehand, way ahead of time, because normally before I was like quitting about a week before. I know a lot of fighters that use all the way until the day before because of testing, and they've been perfectly fine. I've done the same thing for all my previous fights as well. Never tested positive for whatever reason. That I mean, those levels, it happened with that fight, and so, it's behind me, whatever, but now I'm just want to make sure it doesn't happen again. I
Yeah.
want to earn that respect again. I don't want people to remember me for us like this chick
Well,
that misses weight and gets suspended, and
the last fight was amazing. The last round of that fight, I think you really showed, flashes of the old Cynthia that like put that amazing run together at the beginning of your UFC career. And then not only that, you accepted that match quintet like 5 days after that fight.
yeah, I
That's
was
insane. That was
I
badass.
yeah, I flew back home from Washington on Sunday. uh the next day on Monday, my manager in the morning, or they're like, hey, do you want to do consider also too, I was my hand, like I had barely my staff, but it was crazy. My arm was, I don't know, I don't know what was going on. I just took it. It was an opportunity. it was I flew in on Sunday. On Monday, my manager called me. I said yes, let's do it. I flew out to Vegas on Tuesday. I weighed in. And then I competed on Thursday, and it, it, I do not regret it. I obviously did not get the outcome that I wanted. I got subbed in 17 seconds. I mean, that girl that Danielle Kelly, she's amazing. She's 150, walks around at 115 pounds, and I believe she's a new black belt right now. But she is killing it,
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised as to why I got subbed that fast. But I felt like I could have showed a little bit more. I do not regret it. That event was amazing. I was uh, got to be around so many legends of the MMA,
Yeah.
community that who are not even competing in UFC anymore or are retired. They had Mark Munoz there, and then even people that are current. We had Cub Swanson, or we had some of the younger guys. Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
So it was such a great event. I just couldn't turn it down, no matter what. I was just like, yes. I was like, let's go. I'm hoping that they do it again, and that I get to do that. I feel like I am a fun grappler to watch, and it really bummed out that I got something 17 seconds, but I would love to do that again and really
Yeah.
show people a really nice grappling match. They did inform me that they're thinking about doing girl teams, so
Oh wow.
that would be awesome. So I
Yeah.
hope that continue with that.
Oh, cool that you took it straight after that war. It's just like insane. But that's part of a fighter's mentality, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we train for, we live for. I was just like, I've always wanted to do one of those, and one of those events, the super fights, and it it was just the perfect time. I was like, I couldn't turn it down. Like, there's no way. I'm like, let's go.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Cynthia. I've just got two more questions before you. I wanted to know a prediction for your fight, and then a prediction for the girl you've already beaten, Joanne Calderwood, versus the champion of your new division, Shevchenko.
Um, so of course for my fight, I'm gonna go in there Khabib style, and I'm looking for that ground and pound. Uh, first round, right off the bat, we're just gonna take it to her. That's the plan. I just want to just I don't want to give her no room to breathe at all. So
Yeah.
I'm taking that approach, and hopefully get that finish done in the first round and really make a statement. And here's Cynthia Calvillo in the flyweight division. I'm here. So and as far as the champ, man, she is just so impressive right now because she just does not stop. She's making movies. She's just like does not stop training. It's quite amazing. I'm actually a big fan of both of the sisters, but as far as
Yeah.
what they do. Um, but then we have Joanne Calderwood, who is just completely reinvented herself since moving to Las Vegas. It's been also great. I feel like since we first matched up, we were kind of butting heads. Obviously, and people when they fight each other, they don't really like each other back then. But like
Yeah.
now, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Joanne Calderwood, and I think she's doing really great things and a lot of big gains there at the UFCPI. She doesn't have any other distractions as far as like making movies or other obligations and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, man, this is gonna be a tough one. I do think that this is probably gonna be a decision fight. I don't think that it's gonna be as easy, for Shevchenko to get the job done. Um,
Agreed.
um, I think the champ's gonna get the job, get the edge done, but I feel like it's gonna be a decision win. I don't think she's gonna be able to finish Joanne Calderwood. I do think that this is gonna be the best Joanne Calderwood, but right now, the champ's in her prime. This is her time right now, and she does
Yeah.
not stop. And like I said, she's also her sister's main training partner. So she's
Yeah.
in from fight camp to fight camp to fight camp, and that's what it takes to be a champion. Is you got to do the it's a lifestyle. And I really enjoy what she was saying about like she doesn't spend her money on big assets, or like I'm gonna go buy a big house or anything. She invests on herself and her training and traveling and making sure and those. And I like that because I feel like I'm similar in the sense way. Same. Sometimes I'd be like, oh man, I want to save all this money and I want to go buy this house. And because no, in reality, other people like you have this idea of like what success is, and you need to have a house and you need to have this to really measure as far as like, oh no, I'm complete, or this is what life's about. But like no, I I think that's very important, and I think that's what makes them so successful is completely investing, everything on themselves. So yeah, I got the champ. I got the champ there, John, on this one.
Yeah, that's a great prediction, and yeah, I really like what you said about that as on the way they live, and how much they invest into it. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But thank you so much. This has been a great interview. You've been amazing, and I'm so excited to see you get back in there on April 5th. It's in Lincoln, Nebraska, right?
Yes, Lincoln, Nebraska. I've never been there. I'm hoping it's gonna be somewhat warm. I don't know. I hear it's really cold there.
I think it's
So
cold. Yeah.
yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, best of skill to you, Cynthia. Thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thank you. Pleasure always.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching.